College Football Apostles Week 13. We are excited to be here. We're going to give you some game picks and previews and talk about all that. And of course, the biggest things in college football this week. James Franklin now has a new job. People are whining and complaining about the college football playoff. Ralph is turned into get off my lawn guy. Um, Nicole Arback has stirred up some dirt. Uh, we got college football quarterbacks testing the transfer portal. Is Sam Levitt going? Fans are mad. They want to know the truth. So we got to bring you the truth. And you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. Ralph, this is our first show at 25,000 subscribers.
25,000.
25.
That's more.
Not just the
That's
city, but the world, Craig.
that's more people in the county where I'm from. The
Oh,
whole
excuse me,
county.
2,500, what, 2,500, 25,139 at this moment.
That is like more people than the entire county where I come from. And it's okay to misspeak on numbers. I don't know if you saw your boy Stephen A. said that Pardon the Interruption has been the highest rated show on ESPN for the last 20 decades.
Yes, 20 decades. I saw that. I was like, that's 200 years.
I was just imagining Mike Wilbon in like a powdered wig.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Oh my god.
All right, so
Kornheiser is in DC, right? Like, yeah,
yes.
it could happen. Yeah, for sure.
So let's
What do we
start
got today?
today, as we always start. Best thing from last week. And for me, I'll start out first. Is I was so happy to be like I told you so. I told you so. I told everybody Oklahoma was going to beat Alabama and that uh, Georgia was going to skull drag Texas. Told you. Those were two of the easiest games to pick of the entire year, Ralph. I am, and we're getting good. We're getting upsets. We're starting to get to that time where crazy results start to happen. I'm just hoping that my Ducks are not part of the crazy results. My heart can't take it, and that's honestly the thing that makes college football so amazing. Is 1 minute you could never feel more alive, and then the next minute you want to die. Is that
Yeah, that's it. You described all of college football. I do a lot of laughing as well. Just college football is the funniest sport in the entire world. It as the funniest people in the entire world doing the absolute funniest things. And if it doesn't affect me, I usually have the ability to laugh at. Sometimes, though, sometimes the thing other people are laughing at is the thing that's making me cry. I got a weird one from last weekend, a really weird one. It won't surprise you because you know me. But one of the things I've been doing for you for Unafraid Show is monitoring some of these lower level players that could be our next big time SEC college running back, wide receiver, quarterback,
mm-hmm.
stuff
That
like that.
video drops to yeah, that video drops tomorrow morning.
So two of the players that we have been collectively monitoring at the FCS level went head to head in a matchup of a team that was 3-7 against one that was 5-5, and it was delightful. It was the most fun I've had. I got to watch Central Arkansas play at Southern Utah last week, and there's two running backs. There's a guy, a kid named Landon Chambers out of Texas, who plays for Central Arkansas, who's on a streak of like 8 straight 100-yard games, which at any level as a running back at the collegiate level is very eye-opening. And then Southern Utah has a running back named Joshua Dye, who I actually covered at the high school level for
Yeah.
what I do in my other job. Joshua Dye's a kid who went to UTEP and sat on the bench and did nothing. Then he dropped down a level. So I got to watch these two guys go head to head because I believe that they'll both probably be candidates to level up. get some house money behind their name, and find a nice spot to make a contribution at a higher level. And so it's Landon Chambers against Joshua Dye, and they combined for like 300 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. It was everything that I kind of hoped it would be. And then Joshua Dye at this point, I think, leads the entire country in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He has 25 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, that's it.
And he's got, this is my favorite stat. He left UTEP because he was rotting on the bench. He's got 700 more rushing yards by himself than UTEP has as a team right now. So they might want him back. Somebody might want him.
Yes.
But shout out to Landon Chambers, Joshua Dye. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for the video that's dropping on Unafraid Show. 12 offensive players that we think could level up, get paid.
That is exciting. That is exciting. And touchdowns come at a premium. So in the FBS, the leader in touchdowns, just so you understand how many 25 is, Keywan Lacey is leading by 3 touchdowns, and he's got 19. And then the running back for North Texas, Caleb Hawkins, has 16.
And Caleb Hawkins is on our list as well. 6'2", 200 at North Texas. And probably feel like maybe he's going to be playing somewhere a little bigger next year.
Man, sorry for it. All right. The next thing that we got to talk about. Sorry. Did you give your list? I mean, the thing you were from last week.
Yeah, it was Southern. Believe it or not, Southern Utah at Central Arkansas.
Yes, there we go. All right. Next thing up. So Arizona State fans got a little chippy because a report came out from Pete Nakos that, and this is the second quarterback family he's made upset. Nico Iamaleava last year. This year it is the Sam Levitt family who is upset at Pete Nakos' reporting. Last year, were there any lies told by Pete when it came to Nico? In terms of that he didn't show up and that he was hopping in the portal and all of that?
It went the way Pete Nakos said. I'm sure that there's a dispute over if it happened the way he said it happened, but with the end result ends up being the end result. People don't get too hung up on the details. I think you've provided a lot of context for what the family reasoning might have been for leaving.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they still met with the team, wanted more help, maybe more resources, and decided to go. And that's the gist of what Nakos said was happening.
Yeah. And then he actually, I wonder if he's going to hop back in the portal.
Well, he and every quarterback in the country, I feel like, have that option. Everybody's on really a year to year.
Yeah, and I just don't love him back in the portal. But also, he's going to get a new head coach, so who knows? Which is probably going to be Chesney from which I think is a big time. He's at James Madison right now, right?
Yeah, and I think Alonzo Barrett is quarterback for them this year, and not even fully healthy, and he looked like a star. So that, I mean, if you're Nico, you gotta entertain what you might look like in that offense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's noteworthy. And so, what's going on in college football? So let's address this Sam Levitt thing. So, Nakos and On3 essentially said that it was doubtful that he would be back.
That his camp is shopping him to other teams, quote, at a high level, unquote, and that he was, quote, doubtful to return, unquote. I think those are the two most important things. He's being shopped by his camp, and they believe he is doubtful to return to Arizona State. The protest from his brother, who is his representative, his brother Dallin, who played 6 years in the NFL, started at BYU and finished at Utah State, is that he posted a text message saying that he told Pete Nakos, why would you report that? That's not where things are at right now. And that Pete Nakos powered through that. So that's created some conflict between the Arizona State fan base and On3, who I used to work for briefly.
So let's examine what was said in those texts because his brother didn't say that it wasn't true. He said
No.
that's not where we're at right now in terms of
Yeah.
being doubtful, maybe. But the fact that he's being shopped around, this shouldn't be nefarious, nor should it feel, outside of what the norm is. Because these contracts are not public. So players don't have an idea of what their worth is. Okay.
Hmm.
So let's say that you are Sam Levitt. I don't know what his exact number is at Arizona State. So I'm going to use one that I know for sure from another team that is pretty comparable. Okay. Let's say his number is 1.3 million. Okay.
Okay.
If you're Sam Levitt, there is reason for you to feel like that considering how many other players that you believe are being paid about 1.3 million and that and I also found out that the Darian Mensah deal that it is technically if it's worth up to $4 million a year.
Okay.
It's two and a half and two and a half essentially like it's 2 years 5 million. But if
With
he wins the
incentives.
Heisman National Championship, go to the playoffs, all of that stuff, like it can get up to $8 million. But
Okay.
it's two and a half and two and a half. And Carson Beck's not making six; he's somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 million. In the neighborhood, somewhere in between $3 and $4 million. So if you know that that's the case, and you're Sam Levitt, isn't it responsible to see what the market is and to see what your market and what your worth is, to see if somebody else says, if there are multiple places that are like, yo, we will pay you $3 million, and you're like, okay, cool. Hey, yo, Arizona State, let's talk about this. $3 million is what I'm worth on the open market. And they say, all right, we can't get you to three because of the way our pockets is set up. We'll get you to two and a half. He may be willing to like players, and I'm not talking about Sam in particular. I'm just using him as an example. A player may say, "I like my head coach. I like the offense. They built me to this point. They believe in me. I'm not leaving over $500,000 because I got to move. It's not comfortable. Like there's a lot of stuff I got to deal with. Is that worth a $500,000 to me?" So you're going to have a lot of players who are willing to stay where they are at a little bit of a discount. Now, this is not what from what I've asked about, this doesn't feel like where we are with Sam Levitt, Ralph.
That it's not a leverage play.
Yeah, I thought initially that it was a leverage play, but after sniffing around on things, it doesn't necessarily, like, I'm unsure and it's unclear about whether it's a leverage play. And also, Arizona State seems like they're making contingency plans.
Yeah. Um, Here's my thing with the whole Sam Levitt thing, because this is a team that I root for and host a Wednesday night spaces with other ASU fans talking ball. Went to the Peach Bowl last year and enjoyed his performance. Sam Levitt is a dude who I think by the time he got to ASU is probably his sixth school in 6 years. Um, his dad was a linebacker at BYU at a very high level. In fact, the first BYU win over a top 10 team at home in 33 years happened in 2023 when they beat Baylor, who eventually finished 6-7. But they did it. They beat a top 10 team at home. It was the first time doing it since 1990 when Jared Levitt, Sam's father, was a linebacker at BYU, and they beat Miami at home, which could bring this whole thing full circle if Miami is the ultimate destination. But to say something like that, like, oh, the guy who was playing for us the last time we beat a legitimate top 10 team that like went through the season being very good at home. His son kind of spurned BYU, and also his brother spurned BYU and transferred out. And also, the dad doesn't necessarily have a great relationship with BYU right now. So I look at a whole family who has chosen to actually walk away from legacy for the sake of family. And you're a quarterback dad, and I've got
Yeah.
sons. Like I love Arizona State, but I've had to entertain my oldest talking about going to University of Washington for the last 9 years, and I can't just tell him to shut up and no. I got like if he wants to chase a dream, I got to let him chase a dream. And if
Yeah.
if somebody comes along and says like, "Oh, you're not a true Sun Devil because of that," well then you can
So
bite the
be it.
curve. Yeah, he like as aggressive as possible. I don't care what you think, and you can take this maroon and gold and shove it. Like, so I understand that from as a father, but we're talking about a family that has walked away from legacy before, on multiple generations that have walked away from legacy before for the benefit of family. So it does not surprise me that they would entertain the idea of leaving ASU, even though ASU is an enormous part of their legacy, and there actually is a monetary value that people don't ever consider. And George, you understand this better than anyone. Going back to get your degree at Oregon all those years later, there is a monetary value associated with your affiliation with the program. When people say make a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision, that's what they were referring to,
Yes.
was being part of that network this entire time. I don't think it's the wisest thing in the world to be shopping. There's also, and I got a couple of messages about this earlier today from people who would know, there's a way to go about this that it feels like the Levitt family has gone outside the bounds of how you actually kick the tires. It's usually you let teams approach you. You don't signal to everybody else, I'm available to the highest bidder, which is what made the Athletic and On Three
They went to go
use.
stick their leg out like like sticking
Yeah,
their leg out on the curb. Like, hey,
yeah, and because what is the point of even reporting this? But then you look at the fact that the athletic story, which contains a denial from Sam Levitt's father that they just powered through, the athletic story includes what they say is program sources, and it makes it sound like they talked to ASU. They also paint him and confirm him as being doubtful to return, even though they included denial from his father. And the athletic story has 4 authors, George. 4 people putting their neck on the line in the New York Times to report that Sam Levitt is doubtful to come back.
hmm,
Would 4 people put their neck on the line doing that after the On Three had Pete Nakos and Steve Wilfong? So 6 people
yeah.
report 2 separate stories, both of which contain a denial from the person closest to Sam
They
Levitt.
like we it, it's like that that Willie Taggart. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get that for you. I'm gonna get that for you.
It, and what's interesting is like, so they power through these denials. 6 reporters put their name to something that would actually, cost them their credibility. Otherwise, it makes you think they saw or know something that has not been put out there. And I'm
Yep.
a reasonable person who wants Sam Levitt to come back and is ready to bite Pete Nakos' head off when he's wrong. I'm ready to do it. But at this point, I am choosing, based on what I know, to believe the reporting. I think it's a responsible thing to do to know your worth. I think Sam Levitt's camp has gone outside the bounds of what is, it's hard to say traditional because we're in a brand new era, but they did this. They created this situation. And I don't think it's fair to Arizona State, who is still in pursuit of a Big 12 title, to have their leader have his business out there, which only would have happened if his family went about this in a way that maybe wasn't as careful as it could have been.
Yep. Yeah. And
Do you saw all the comments of people saying this is what's wrong with college football? Do you agree? I don't like look at this and say, oh, this is a unique problem to college football.
no.
I think this is the problem with having inexperienced representation.
Yep. There you go. And then also there not being a salary cap and there not being a place where you can really understand your value already. Because the only way to understand your value is to be able to access your value. And you can't access your value um like this. You can't. like in the way that you have to do it right now. It's just
Let's
not
put
possible.
let's put you in these shoes. Uh, and we won't get too specific, but you obviously are a family member of a college quarterback. But let's make it a hypothetical. Let's
Okay.
call it your brother. Your brother. You played what, 6 years in the NFL?
Yep.
Well, wow. So did Dallin Levitt. Interesting. So you played and you get a gig with CAA. The eventual thing is like there's been projections of your brother possibly being a first rounder. You also have NFL experience, gives you a unique ability to relate to players. You become an affiliate sort of agent go between. The company's goal is to eventually make money off you, but you're actually, there's a benefit in it for you as well. If this is the industry you want to stay in, you got this relative. How would you go about it? It's the middle of the season. Your relative, your brother, is not playing for the rest of the year, and you're looking around and trying to gauge, would you be more patient? Like, what would you have done differently in this situation?
Obviously, if the reporting is true, there's been a rift that's been building for some point in time. Either Sam Levitt feels like that because here's the truth about the kid, right? About what people think about the kid is that he's a little abrasive, right? That's fair to say, right?
Yeah,
And,
but
and
like not in a can we weaponize this for our benefit type of way, not in a um, cancerous way, if that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, correct. That if you focus it, then it's a positive. And so he's a little abrasive, and so but he's your guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you helped build, like you believed in him, you helped build him, and it feels like to me that there has become a little bit, and it felt like it watching the games this year because their offense wasn't quite as good this year. It felt like watching somebody who was frustrated with the people around him. Would you agree with that?
I do.
So once people start to get frustrated with the people around them, it is tough for them to see like what's reality. Like, is it them? Is it you could be better? Is it just bad luck? Like, it is hard to put it in perspective. And then when you're looking at everybody else like they're the problem,
And you ended up on the operating table.
yes, it's easy to feel like that they're the problem and I need to get somewhere else instead of water my own grass.
It's even easier for the people in your life to feel that way.
Yeah.
That's the most common thing that I've dealt with in 14 years of dealing with parents is I've talked to many a dad that has
You
been
should be
like that.
playing, man. He shouldn't be
Yeah,
playing in front of you. And they're like, well, he shows up late. He does, man. It don't matter, man. He's a good kid. He'll work through it. Like you got to give him a chance. It's like
yeah,
he's not doing.
or even more common, they're getting my son, my brother, they're getting my people killed. They're getting my people killed out there.
Yeah,
Now, Sam Levitt, if you've ever watched him play, I think he probably bears some responsibility for his physical health. He is Mad Max. He's a little badass. Like
yeah.
I think he probably bears some responsibility for his physical condition. But at the same time, like, yeah, the O line does not look, and how many people have transferred because they didn't like the O line or the receivers and somebody else promised to get them better ones? It
Yes.
all of this makes complete sense to me. I just wish it wasn't happening.
Okay. So if Sam Levitt does leave, where do you think that he fits? Like, what school does he fit at?
Gosh, I don't think he would go anywhere. I wouldn't understand the point of leaving Arizona State unless you're going to go to somewhere that is perceptively better and more talented.
Yeah.
So that cuts it down to about 20 schools, right? which conference would you say prepares you best for the NFL? Like,
At
because that's the
quarterback,
ultimate goal.
mm,
That's his family's goal, is to see him eventually be like the Steelers quarterback or something like that. So, who best prepares you? I think the ACC is a great quarterback conference,
yep, and so is the
but
Big Ten because you get a chance to play in some weather and
yeah, I like in an ideal world, if I was Sam Levitt's family member and I could convince anybody to take me, anybody,
yeah.
Clemson,
Ooh,
because the money's there, but do they want you? And that's, that's a Dabo thing, right? But
yeah,
if I could, completely separate from the fact that as an Arizona State fan, I want Sam Levitt back in maroon and gold, I look and say, okay, what's a quarterback development conference where you're probably not going to get killed on the field by opposing defenses and you have a track record of actually sending guys to the NFL? Cade Klubnik, say what you want about him, he's going to the NFL.
yes,
That's
100%.
going to make three straight quarterbacks that played their final year of eligibility at Clemson that go on to have NFL careers. That would be where I go. If it's just the most money and the best O line, then yeah, you got to kick the tires on Miami, and they're going to kick the tires on everybody. Are you better
Yeah,
than Mestamaker? Are you better than the monster that's going to have everybody bidding on him out of Old Dominion?
yeah.
There's rumors right now, George, that maybe Oregon would want him if Dante Moore decided to go to the league. But who's going to take him knowing he's not going to play in spring?
See, now that is a whole nother can of worms because you got that going on, and then that's kind of the next level of this conversation is that forget Sam Levitt. Let's look at the other places that are gonna need quarterbacks. Okay, if you're Florida, are you bringing back DJ Lagway as your guaranteed starter, or do you let him go, or do you bring him back in a quarterback competition? He doesn't feel like the kind of kid that's going to be up for being in a quarterback competition to me. So Florida's going to need a quarterback. I can't hear you, Ralph. LSU, they're going to need a quarterback because it doesn't feel like that they're sold on Michael Van Buren. Like he may be the guy, but I think at best they end up in a quarterback competition. You got um, Tennessee is going to be in the market for a quarterback. I know that they got the Faison Brandon coming in, but you can't depend on a true freshman to be your starter. In the Oklahoma, I'm sorry, Ole Miss, they're going to need a quarterback.
Yeah,
Indiana's going to need a quarterback. Uh, there's Miami's going to need a quarterback. Vanderbilt might be able to flip Jared Curtis because he might be able to start. Illinois
yeah.
needs a quarterback. Hell, Memphis needs a quarterback. Uh, Clemson, Louisville, Florida State, Georgia
You,
Tech.
you're forgetting you're forgetting a college football playoff team that has a little bit of money and is going to be, and sounds like they're going to need a quarterback as well.
Mm, oh, Texas Tech.
Arizona State, George.
Oh yes, Arizona
Arizona
State.
State
Oh,
University.
and then look at Texas Tech. They like the kid. What's his name? The backup, the freshman, the one that's hurt right now.
Will Hammond.
Yeah, they
Yeah, Will
love
Hammond.
Will Hammond.
I love Will
Will
Hammond.
Hammond,
We want to trade?
he is out for the he is out until at least fall camp. And he might even be limited in fall camp. So, what do you do if you're Texas Tech? Like we love the kid, but our starter won't be available during spring ball, so we can't fully know.
Yeah.
And then what happens if he has a setback for a month?
Yeah.
Then what? And then he's limited. He misses fall camp, and we're supposed to have a good season? No, absolutely not.
Right.
So this is going to be real tricky for a lot of people.
I think I think there are a lot of good quarterbacks out there. There's one in the state of Arizona at NAU. You saw him play, Ty
Yep.
Pennington, not the home improvement Ty Pennington, the quarterback Ty Pennington came from Pittsburgh State. He's already leveled up once, and he looks like he's got elite pocket presence. You know, there's going to be options. I think people are going to want to play for Kenny Dillingham. People are also going to want to play for money. So anybody who has resources, I don't know. I'm not super worried about Arizona State. I wish this wasn't happening. It is indicative of kind of like the overall state of things, and I think a lot of people are going to be mad. But the first thing that's going to happen after you get mad is you're going to try to steal somebody else's quarterback. You're
Yep.
going to forget about that anger, and then you're going to make somebody else feel that way. So, I best of luck to everybody involved. I do hope the kid gets paid, and I hope that he gets healthy, and I hope that he ends up in the best situation for him. But I think this is pretty sloppy the way that all this has gone down, and his reputation is unnecessarily taking a hit with home fans who entered the year believing that he'd be gone in the NFL draft anyway. So they weren't counting on having him back, but they
Mm,
don't want to be given the middle finger on the way out the door.
damn. The middle finger though? Yeah, that's yeah,
In
that and
season negotiations while you're still in the hunt for the Big 12 championship is a middle finger.
oh, speaking of that, let's talk about what's going on over there at Ole Miss. Ole Miss, their head coach Lane Kiffin, he is clearly in negotiations with other teams. The man his family went to Gainesville and then to Baton Rouge.
His
He's
what?
Baton Rouge
His what?
family.
No, he took his. Are you sure that's how it's pronounced?
Oh, it's his family.
Family.
He has family. He took his family. He took his family. He took his family to Gainesville, and then he took his family
Yeah.
to Baton Rouge. And it's just crazy, man, that the way that Ole Miss is in the middle of a college football playoff hunt. They are 10-1. All you got to do is win the Egg Bowl, and you are 100% in the college football playoff. Just win the Egg Bowl. Lose the Egg Bowl, you might be out. Lane Kiffin is out here gallivanting his family out there. Like, you got to be more discreet about this. He's still tweeting Ole Miss fans like business as usual. If I were an LSU fan, I would be about to the point where I'm like, bruh, I don't care if you stay or go. I don't even care anymore. So all the goodwill that he built up, he may have just balled it up and thrown it in the trash.
You mean with Ole Miss fans?
Yes.
I think there's, from an entertainment perspective, gaslighting is, I don't know, maybe some people get an enjoyment out of it, but if it's ever like happened to you, and yeah, I mean, you got an Oregon helmet behind you, so it has happened to you a couple of times. It's horrible. Like the only like gaslighting should stop after you're a baby sitting in a high chair and you got an adult playing got your nose. That's the
Yeah.
last time that it's really of any use to you. Lane Kiffin is the most online coach in America. He is the most aware of what the temperature is and what people are talking about in America. And we know this because he participates in the talk. He loves to kick the hornet's nest. He does it for the same reason that Kevin Durant does. It gets you that little adrenaline rush. And like there's part of that that I respect, the gamesmanship I respect. But the whole like who me? Like that whole thing that he's been doing, like that is it, it's absurd. It's hard to buy. He's playing it, I guess, the way that everybody has always played it in the past, and he's played it in the past. But like I told you before, George, if the entire goal is Lane Kiffin to have the nation talk about Lane Kiffin participating in this documentary, dragging out the fact that he's flirting with all these different schools, then let's actually talk about Lane Kiffin. Let's talk about having the number one rush defense in America
Mm,
in 2024 and you being
mm.
an offensive guy and missing the college football playoff. How you have the number one rush defense in America and you're an offensive guru, and at the end of the day, your offense wasn't enough to get it done against Kentucky. To the point where you had to complain that the entire system was broken because it didn't include little old you. We talk about how great it is that he brought his family back together. Brought them back together from what? From
from
what?
from from himself.
We want to talk about University of Tennessee coming to terms and forgiving Lane Kiffin. Forgiving him for what?
For what he did.
Yeah. What we want to talk about the time he spent with Nick Saban. The time he spent with Nick Saban having Nick Saban say and do what?
Say that that he would fight, that he was willing to fire Jimmy Sexton, I think, uh for getting him to hire that dude.
I think that he is an incredible collector of talent, and I think he is a good, very good coach, top 10 coach in the country. But this is what you get with him
Yeah.
constant weirdness, drama, all to have people saying your name. And no one has ever said Monty was a bad or inattentive father. So, like, this
No.
desire for attention, who
Yeah,
knows
it
where it
is.
comes from?
Yes. And it's funny because Ole Miss fans are like, "Oh, yeah, if yeah, he keeps tweeting like this, so everything is fine." All right. Let's go through, because I've been through this many times, okay?
I didn't mean to laugh. The
So,
many caught me off guard.
yes. So so let's try this on for size, okay? All right. Let me pull it up. I hope you can hear this, Ralph, when I pull it up. So, here is what Oregon coaches have sounded like in the past who left.
Asking and fans keep wondering because there's never been a definitive yes or no from you. So, will you be the coach here next year? Can you say that?
Why wouldn't I be? I'm a football coach. I mean, you guys ask me that like you're trying to get me out of here.
Hold on. God dang it. All right, hold on. I'm gonna put it.
Why
I'm,
wouldn't I be?
I'm gonna put
That
it here.
sounds familiar.
Hold on. I'm gonna put it here. Hold on. So it's not in the thing.
That sounded incredibly familiar.
We keep asking and fans keep wondering because there's never been a definitive yes or no from you. So, will you be the coach here next year? Can you say that?
Why wouldn't I be? I'm a football coach. I mean, you guys ask me that like you're trying to get me out of here or something. I'm like, we're better than that. Why wouldn't I be?
Crappy with the Oregonian. Mario, much of the hours leading up to the game was spent on reports regarding your future. Do you intend to sign a contract extension at Oregon, or will you accept the Miami job if offered?
Yeah, I don't know what you're into. When you say someone's offered, I haven't talked to anybody. So let's not create narratives, okay, as we sit here in this press conference. So Oregon is working on some stuff for me, and that's what I have right now. And that's the extent of that conversation.
That everybody else wants, that's because of what our players, our coaches, the support that exists here at Oregon have created. I think I've been really clear here since day one. Everything I want exists right here. I'm not going anywhere. There's zero chance that I would be coaching somewhere else. I've got unfinished business here. There's a lot that I want to accomplish here at Oregon. My number one priority is being elite here at Oregon. And
So, Ralph, could you hear all those?
Oh, yeah. I almost didn't have to. I remember them. They're burned into my brain.
Why wouldn't I be? That's the greatest thing. Hey, be like, honey, are you coming home tonight? Why wouldn't I come home?
But that, yeah, putting it back on everybody else. Like, so answer the question. That's a question. They're asking you a question as a media member. They
like,
have.
Why are you asking me? I'm asking you.
Yeah, because you've never shown a multi-year level commitment to anything in your entire life, Lane, and you have an entire fan base, blood, sweat, tears, resources, wondering if you're going to be here next year. Not to mention players' families. Do they matter to you, or does this little game matter more? All you do is answer a question with a question.
So
You get if somebody's bullshitting you, you get aggressive. That's the only, and I appreciate the media members always trying to find the best phrasing to try to get somebody who's greased up like a pig to not be able to wiggle out. But they walked into that press conference greased up, ready to get out of anything. It's okay as a media member at that point, if they ask you a question back, to be like, oh, so we're lying.
Yeah. So we're lying right now. Because here's the thing. Cristobal sat up there and said, what do you mean? Bro, you had just flown down to Miami, and yes, your mom was sick, but you was also doing business down there. We can't sit here and act like that's not true, or that Willie Taggart wasn't at Tyler Shuck's house taking phone calls from Florida State. Like, stop it, bro. Like it's and I understand the precarious position it puts you in when you haven't fully accepted it and they're still negotiating terms. You're kind of in one half in, one foot in, one foot out. But in Ole Miss's case, what are you supposed to do? Because if he leaves and then he went on Pat McAfee's show, everything's fine. There's no ultimatum. There has to be an ultimatum. Common sense tells you that, because if Lane's leaving, what does Ole Miss have to do?
Take care of Ole Miss. They got to replace him. They got to be
And
ready.
what don't they want to do? Wait until everybody else has their head coach first.
Yeah.
And then you got Alex Golish doing the same thing at USF, but it's different because he's at USF. So people can accept you waiting to figure out what's going on everywhere else to figure out where you're going to go if you're at USF. They can't accept that when you're at a premier place. Just make a decision and go with it. It's got to be frustrating for him. I would be highly frustrated.
If he leaves Ole Miss, I'm going to be mad for the dumbest reason. I've already gone through this, and so have you. You've been Kenny Dillingham's #1 public defender. We've already gone through this with Arkansas fans, Auburn fans, LSU fans, and Florida fans. And if Lane Kiffin leaves, we're going to have to do it with Ole Miss fans too. No.
You cannot have Kenny Dillingham right now. Maybe 5 years from now. Maybe.
Right, but not today.
Yes. Not today. Today's not the day.
I think I told you this privately. I don't know if I said it on here, but like it puts me in the weirdest position because obviously, like I've watched Kenny Dillingham coach for a long time. When you and I started this podcast, he was at Florida State, and you and I would have conversations about him. Then he ended up at Oregon with Dan Lanning, and you got to know what he's about and everything like that. And you've had the ability to interview him a couple of times. In a typical situation, I have no problem arguing online with somebody who says something bad about Kenny Dillingham. Yeah. But in the last couple of months, I've had to watch people argue online about whether Kenny Dillingham would be a good hire or not. And so you'll have like an LSU fan be like, he's young and he hasn't done anything. And like, I want to, in those situations, typically I would want to interject and be like, actually, here's his resume and here's how improbable it was. But in every situation of anybody saying anything bad about Kenny Dillingham, I just got to let it go. Yes. I got to let people believe. In fact, like I got to like amplify. I got to favorite it. I'm like 90% of my favorites have just been people saying terrible things about Kenny Dillingham in the last couple of weeks. Just be like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he can't get it done in the SEC. We should probably look at John Sumrall.
All right. Speaking of things, let's get on to the games this week, Ralph. So we have college football games this week, and it is week 13. We are going to be talking about the top games and what we think about them and everything in between. This schedule's a little bit weird. So ordinarily I do this on Tuesdays and then you guys put it up and I mean and you guys watch it and everything else. So we're doing things a little bit different this week in particular because some life events have happened. So let's get to the biggest game of the entire week, Ralph. We got USC versus Oregon. This is a game that is in Eugene, Oregon. It is between these two teams who are both really good. See, look, you see what I just did right there? Just put it right in between there so everybody can see. 12:30 in Eugene, 9-1 versus 8-2. USC's trying to go to the college football playoff. Oregon is trying to go to the college football playoff. This spread has been all over the place. It has been as high as 10.5. I think it's still sitting at 9.5 now. Uh, what say you, Ralph?
I like Oregon, and one of the biggest reasons why is I'm not 100% sure Elijah Page is fully healthy. And he is somebody who monstrous size left tackle for USC. He got banged up in that Iowa game. He's been practicing in like giant double knee braces, and he is one of the better pass protectors in college football this year.
Yep.
But is he, because they're going to need to throw. I know that USC has had a renewed commitment to running this year, and they've done a pretty good job. They're down to their third string running back. But I genuinely wonder if they have the type of commitment it takes to be patient and try to run against this Oregon defense that is also very improved against the pass. So you kind of got to pick your poison. But if Elijah Page isn't fully healthy and he's not optimal as a pass blocker, then I think you're just in a little bit extra trouble. So I liked Oregon anyway. The key factor for me is USC maybe not being healthy on the offensive line, because I think these USC wide receivers could probably do some damage even in contested situations. But are we even going to be able to? Is he going to be able to get Mayava going to be able to get passes off?
Yeah, I think this game is going to come down to that, but also about 8 plays in the game because Mayava puts the ball in danger, right? Like there are some throws where you're like, does he have a computer and abacus in his head where the perfect arc, the ball fits, has enough time to catch it, gain control, and then get hit? But then you say, okay, that worked against Illinois, that worked against Iowa, but it was tighter against Iowa. Oregon's secondary is the number one in the country. Is that a fraction of a millisecond? Is that now gone? You know what I mean? Where that turns into a breakup or a pick. There's going to be about 8 plays. There's going to be some third and longs that USC will either get off the field or won't get off the field. That's going to be the difference in this being a tightly contested game and a blowout. Because USC is going to have trouble stopping Oregon from running the football. This game feels a lot like the Notre Dame game to me, except the weather's going to be better and because it shouldn't be raining at all. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a significant thing.
Do you think this puts Notre Dame fans in the weird position of having to root for USC?
Damn. Possibly. Because if USC wins, then that actually puts Notre Dame in a position where they can't really jump over Notre Dame. Like that kind of boxes Notre Dame in on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got Stanford and somebody else left.
I think this is a playoff game for USC. I think this is the most important game. They've had a lot of important games this season, but this is the most important game that they've played in a since.
Well, this is the most
Caleb
important
Williams
game in the
Jr.
program
year.
in a long time. Like this
Yeah,
is
I agree.
outside of the like you got to go back to the 23 Pac-12 championship when they were playing against Utah, where they probably would have gone to the college football playoff had they won. Like, this is the most important game since then, because that was the 22. Yeah, that was the 22-23 season, I think. Yeah, I believe, because that was Caleb Williams' first season there. Yeah,
Can
exactly.
we
Yeah, that was the 22-23 season. And
can we get this graphic off the screen?
oh, okay.
I'm struggling with the words Big Ten next to a important USC
Oh, you're silly.
Oregon game in late November. I'm not enjoying myself right now.
Bro, I was like, okay, I'll get it off.
I appreciate. It's just, it's fine if you got an ex who has a photo of her and her new husband up in their home, but it doesn't need to be up in your home.
That's
I don't like
hilarious.
seeing the Big Ten next to those names when this is an important November football game between the schools that Larry Scott killed off. But it is kind of a cool testament to the fact that, like, the Pac-12 is not what you guys nationally thought it was.
Yep.
Just because we beat up on each other doesn't mean you can do it.
100%. All right, so we both like the Ducks in that game. All right, next game up. Missouri, Oklahoma. Missouri has not beaten they've not beaten a ranked team this year. Their losses are to Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Texas A&M, all respectable. But their wins are against Mississippi in the SEC, Mississippi State. You notice I didn't say Mississippi State, Auburn, South Carolina, and that's it. Outside of that, they got wins against Central Arkansas, your team, Ralph, Kansas, Louisiana, and and that's it. Oh, and UMass, excuse me. Oklahoma is on the verge of a college football playoff berth. Brent Venables is off the hot seat. John Mateer should be back for another year next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Oklahoma in this game because their defense is fantastic. Missouri's defense is pretty good as well. I just don't believe that Missouri is going to be able to score enough points. That's the biggest issue for them because their quarterbacks are hurt. You had Tommy Locke, who started the season. I think that was who started the season, right? And he got one pass off and then was out for the year. Bo Perbula came in, played pretty well. He's out, and now they're starting Matt Zollers, who's a true freshman. And they have not been able to throw the ball at a high level with him. He's only completing 53% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. But they do have Ahmad Hardy, who is, I think he's leading the nation in yards right now, rushing.
I do want to throw out, I did tweet like 2 weeks into the season, Ahmad Hardy is this year's Cam Scattaboo. If somebody can perform, running backs, not a lot to it. If you have somebody who hits the hole aggressively at any level and you could create a hole for them at a higher level, they're going to be themselves. And Ahmad Hardy, I think, was at Louisiana last year, and now he's leading the whole country in rushing. But here's the deal. Oklahoma is one of the nastiest run defenses in the entire country, and they played better competition than a lot of the teams ahead of them. They're currently 4th, giving up 82.2 yards a game. If you are one of the best run defenses in America, and that's all the other team has, then I'm going to give the advantage to that team who is also playing at home. Missouri is the James Franklin of the SEC. They are beating up on everybody they should, and every time they run into somebody else that gives them an opportunity to prove that they're more than what they are, they don't win. And it's been that way for years. And you have the added distraction this year of Eli Drinkwitz being talked about for any number of jobs. So I don't think Oklahoma is dealing with any of those distractions, and they get to
It's a 7.5 point spread.
Yeah, Demonic Williams, all these nasty D linemen that are Dominic. Did I call him demonic?
Yes.
Whatever.
I was
He
like,
is
wow.
demonic on that D line. He is demonic on that D line. 82 rush yards allowed per game. Let's go with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma as well. I like them -7.5. This feels like an easy pick. A, this feels like a harder game against the spread, but for the money line, this feels very easy. Oklahoma. All right, the next game that we got. The this coach, they should have taken game day away from them last week when he came out and said, "I don't care how much we lose by. Notre Dame can beat us by 100 points. It doesn't matter." Well, now you got Georgia Tech versus Pitt. This game is a 2.5 point spread, Ralph, because Georgia Tech finds a way to like they find a way to make everything close. And Georgia Tech is a 2.5 point favorite. They have slipped by Boston College. They have slipped by Colorado. They have slipped by um, Duke and Wake Forest. And you're just like, bro, one of these games, it's going to come back and bite you. It bit them in NC State, and it definitely can again against Pitt. But I don't know if Pitt can turn it back on after their coach turned it off last week.
Ooh, that's interesting. That is an interesting approach. That can you not actually have that game affect you in that way? I wonder. Um, Georgia Tech is not that good. Like they are winning by the skin of their teeth every single week. Um,
Like the game that
Pitt,
they lost, Haynes King threw for over 400 yards and had over 100 yards rushing. And I don't even think he had a turnover. He threw for like four touchdowns. It was incredible.
yeah, Georgia Tech is not in the top 100 in pass defense, and they also can't stop the run. So, and Pitt offensively is impressive. Mason Heinschel, he didn't look good against Notre Dame, but the two previous weeks, 304 yards, three touchdowns, 423 yards, and three touchdowns. And Pitt linebackers, which we talked about, one of the reasons why you thought Pitt would be a top 4 team in the ACC going into this year was their linebacking core is nasty. They've just been disgustingly good against the run. Not a lot of people realize this. Pitt's a top 10 team in the country
Yep.
against the run. And so, if I'll say this, if Georgia Tech wins this game, we don't have to talk about the Heisman anymore.
Yeah. Ooh.
We don't have to talk about it. Like is it the best player in America that has the biggest effect or not?
Yeah.
This is a team
that
with
is very,
no
very
defense.
fair. That
A
is
team with
very
no
fair, Ralph.
defense.
And a lot of people don't see it like that. And I've talked about Julian saying like the kid is really, really good, but it is hard to really like, equate his impact. So who do you have in this game? 2.5 point favorite, Georgia Tech. I'm gonna keep riding with Tech because I want more ACC drama. But I mean, well, actually, if Pitt wins, that's more ACC drama. So
Yeah, I would hammer Pitt, which is what would make a Georgia Tech win that much more impressive because it really would come down to one guy who doesn't even believe he's the guy. Everything he does, he kicks credit back to like my Lord and Savior Brent Key.
yeah,
So, like, he's the ultimate team humble competitor, stat stuffer, running quarterback. He could throw. It's crazy. Georgia Tech, terrible defense going up against an offense that can move the ball in a top 10 running defense. If Georgia Tech wins this game, it'd be fine with me. People start casting votes for, maybe not the ACC quarterback they thought they'd be casting votes for at the beginning of the year, but play the swap out game. Put anybody else in that Georgia Tech situation. Would they be 10-1?
yep. All right, next game up, BYU Cincinnati. Oh, BYU fans, here's your opportunity here, buddy. Stop all that crying. Stop all the crying. Because this is a situation where you are a favorite, even though you are on the road. Cincinnati is a 2.5 point dog. BYU is a 2.5 point favorite. BYU, you want to be in the college football playoff. You want all of this stuff. Prove it.
I have a vested interest in a certain outcome. So
What? Why?
let's go Bearcats.
Oh my God.
Arizona State's still in the running. And Texas Tech isn't going to lose, so somebody's got to. Plus, big Brendan Sorsby fan. Would like to see him. He's had a couple of opportunities to shine this year and didn't. And he's smashed cupcakes though. This is not a cupcake. This is a very, very good team.
Yeah, I want people to understand that BYU has looked a lot like Georgia Tech this year. They've been playing through the raindrops a little bit, like a lot of close games. I do rankings based upon quality
beating
wins,
Arizona
schedule play,
was
and dominance. Yeah,
that win over Arizona. I mean, that was what, like 12 completions from Bear Bachmeier in double overtime.
yeah.
It felt like an Arizona loss as much as anything else.
Yep, exactly.
They're okay, just okay against the pass, right? And they're just okay against the run. They've won the games in front of them. That's what's important. They smash mouth with LJ Martin, and they don't give too much to Bear. But I am picking Cincinnati because I need it to happen, putting all my energy behind it. But I do think BYU probably come out with a win.
Yeah. All right. All right. Cool. Yeah. I got. Actually, I'm going the other way. I'm taking Cincinnati in this game. I think that this has all the potential to be an upset. I think that this is a very interesting situation. I like it a lot though. I like it.
So
All right.
let's do a hypothetical. BYU loses,
Okay.
but they still make the Big 12 championship where they get revenge against Tech. Do you think that's enough for two Big 12 teams to be in the college football playoff? Or do you
No.
think that eliminates Tech?
Yeah, well, okay. It depends. Wait. Repeat that scenario to me again.
So BYU loses. They lose
Okay.
to Cincinnati.
All right.
However, they still land a spot in the Big 12 championship.
Okay.
So they win the Big 12 championship against Texas Tech, which gives you two
yes.
11-2 Big 12
Yes, I do.
teams.
Yeah. I believe that Texas Tech, if they keep beating people up, they're going to end up in the top 4 by the time that the conference championship games come. And then because you have to have, because depending on what happens with Texas A&M, Texas, and you're going to have Indiana and Ohio State play. So I think you're going to have Texas Tech inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
So then a loss, I don't think drops them far enough out to get out.
That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to get two teams in, but I feel like right now, Texas Tech is just meat grinding, wood chipping everybody.
Yeah. All right. The next game that we got to talk about. This is an interesting one because we've spoken a little bit about Miami and them and their fans being upset. Well, they go to Virginia Tech, and so is Miami going to show up in a way that gives them an opportunity to win? Like, is this the game that they drop as well? Because if they drop this game, I believe that the Mario Cristobal talk is going to get hot and heavy because they are 17.5 point favorites. of course he's not going to get fired, but there's going to be like the sentiment about him and them is going to be significantly down.
It would be him costing them a college playoff berth with bad November play. Bad November play has been kind of the hallmark of his entire situation.
Yeah.
I would take it personally. I would take this game completely out of Carson Beck's hands and just run the ball.
Yeah.
Louisville and Florida State are Virginia Tech's last two opponents, and you're talking about 235 yards rushing and 237 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns each. Virginia Tech has given up 3 rushing touchdowns in 4 consecutive games. The recipe is there. Don't toy with it. Don't play with it. I know last year this game went down to a controversial call at the end. Don't even let that be the case. Just run to victory. This game should not even be a contest.
It shouldn't be. Ralph, I 100% agree with you. 100%. But Virginia Tech has made it close with teams at times, because it's not like they are devoid of talent. It all has to do with this defense and how, if they're able to get turnovers off of Carson Beck. I'm actually going to take Miami to win, but Virginia Tech to stay within the number, to stay within that 17 and a half.
Everybody always talk about like Miami's recruiting and their NIL and all this other stuff, that Miami's starting to look like Miami again. Miami will never look like Miami until they play loose. Never. And they keep tightening up in all of these big moments. And I thought Cam Ward was kind of the anecdote for a lot of that, but even then, that they lost some important games last year. So I don't know. I think they have the talent to be a top 4 team in the country. I think this year is already a disappointment. I don't think those fans can handle any more disappointment.
Okay, now question. Is this line surprising to you? Texas at Arkansas. Texas is favored by 9.5 points against Arkansas. This line doesn't surprise me because of the way the Mississippi State game and the Kentucky game went, which were very, very close games for Texas. But they are playing at home. Arch has been trending in a more positive direction for sure. But for Texas, a lot of this issue is their run game. They've only rushed for 1,200 yards on the entire season, bro, as a team. 1,200. When you look at, like some of the and truthfully, Alabama has less rushing yards than Texas does on the season. They've rushed for under 1,100 yards, or right around 1,100 yards on the entire season. So that puts a lot of stress on your quarterback in Arch Manning, who has 19 touchdowns, 7 picks, but he's thrown for 2,300 yards and at 63%.
Yeah, I mean, so Memphis ran for 300 yards against Arkansas. I am actually shocked by the line, and I wonder what's going into that. They've been better against the run, but it wasn't against anybody that actually runs the ball well. Mississippi State and LSU would not be confused for teams that have the ability to run the ball. But maybe what the ultimate reference is to is Arkansas's ability to hang with a lot of the teams that they played against, because even though they lost to LSU, they were in that game. Even though they lost to Texas A&M, they dropped 42 on them. Even though they lost to Tennessee, they dropped 31 on them. They have I think at this point in the season, they have 6 one-score losses over the course of their 8-game losing streak. So maybe the line is just a reaction to the fact that Arkansas plays everybody close. But when I look at the fact that Memphis rushed for 300 on them when Arkansas had to travel, why couldn't Texas do the same? Isn't Texas the only team in the country or in the SEC that returned a 1,000-yard rusher? This has got to be the game where they get healthy.
It actually should be, but Arkansas is going to be able to score. But the problem is Arkansas is not going to be able to win this football game. They're not going to be able to. But it's nine. It's 9 or 9.5, depending on where you get it. I'm gonna take Arkansas to stay within that. Like I think that. I think
And
it'll
to
be
be
tough.
clear, because you and I talked about this off air, you are team no path for Texas. You do
Yes.
not believe there's a path for
No.
Texas.
No. No. Yeah. Yeah. I don't believe that there's a path for Texas, or that there should be a path to Texas for the college football playoff, because they're at 17 now. This Arkansas win won't really mean much unless this next game that we're going to talk about actually, if this goes left. Kentucky versus Vanderbilt. Because if Kentucky wins this game, um, yeah, yeah. If Kentucky wins this game, that's a spot for Vanderbilt. I mean, that's a spot that Texas gets to at least just bump up just a little bit, right? And then what happens
Yeah.
if BYU loses to Cincinnati? That's another spot. So now they're at 15. And then you beat Texas A&M, depending on what happens with Alabama in the Iron Bowl, there is a chaos path to that happening. What would have happened if all that happened and USC beat Oregon?
I think that they would deserve it, and I'm not like a SEC honk or whatever, but I think if you beat a top 3 team in the country and you have 9 wins and you got the win over Oklahoma, it's hard for me to argue against um,
Yeah, but the question
including
is,
them.
can you even compete? Because you got beat the hell up by Ohio State. You got beat by a
Yeah.
bad Florida team. You got beat to a pulp by Georgia just a week ago. You skated by Vanderbilt by 3, even though you were up bigger in that game. And then if Vanderbilt loses to Kentucky, it don't look as pretty for you.
No.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
This is a chaos theory game. And this line opened up at 7.5, Ralph. It is 8.5 to 9.5, depending on where you get it. I like Kentucky. Why am I so contrarian right now? I like Kentucky plus 8.5 in this game. I think that this game stays extremely close. Vanderbilt's defense is not great, but Kentucky has found a way to make games close. Bowley is getting some confidence. Their quarterback. I like Kentucky plus 8.5, even if Vanderbilt wins.
Kentucky, after licking their wounds after getting thumped by Georgia on the road, has been pretty respectable.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to throw out the Tennessee Tech November Cupcake result that bothers me so much. But they dominated Florida and they didn't let Auburn even like sniff the end zone. They're running the ball pretty well lately. They didn't against Florida, but nobody really does. But the one thing that kind of gives me it's hard to pick against Diego Pavia. It's hard to pick against Clark Lee in the way that they prepare. Diego Pavia is the SEC leader in yards per attempt, and the one place Kentucky is vulnerable is taking them deep. So I think more big plays for Vanderbilt equals a win, but I will go with you. I think Kentucky covers, but Vanderbilt gets the win in this one.
All right, let's go to the next game. We got a Big 12 showdown. A team that I clearly foolishly picked to make the college football playoff and win the Big 12.
Kansas right there with you.
Versus Utah. Utah, this is a game that Utah has to have. They cannot lose this football game. They are 17.5 point favorites, Ralph. 17.5 points. and you consider that Kansas State has lost to Iowa State by 3, Army by 3, Arizona by 4, Baylor by 1, Texas Tech by 23. This line feels crazy to me at 17 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
This says Kansas keeps it closer, but Utah's going to line you up and run the damn football on you. Like that's what
They,
they're gonna do. Last week
you
they
mean
ran
like
for
the
like 8,000 yards last week.
and 3 weeks ago they put 422 on Colorado at 8.3 a carry. There are 5 games this year where Utah has averaged at least 6.1 yards per carry.
Dude, they went for
And
380 on Baylor on like 44 carries. It was nasty.
Texas Tech is the only team that has been able to kind of figure out Utah's running game this year. The BYU thing I chalk up to just rivalry and road game. The Texas Tech game was a lot closer than the 34-10. A lot closer than the
Yes.
34-10 would tell you. That broke open late in the fourth.
Yes.
And so
yeah, that game was nip and tuck the
yeah,
whole way.
I'm pro Kansas State in this one. I want Avery Johnson to just run. Just run. I know you want to prove your pocket passer. Do it next year, wherever you play college football. This year, just use your feet, please. But if you look at Utah over the last month and a half, they are 5-1 with 5 absolutely dominant in-conference blowout wins. 48-14 at West Virginia, 42-10 over Arizona State, 53-7 over Colorado, 45-14 over Cincinnati, and then at Baylor, they absolutely laid the wood last week. They only needed to complete 8 passes to score 55 points. Utah is rolling right now. This game is at home. If it was at night, I would say take a 30-point spread, but I think it's because it's a early in the day kickoff. It's only 17 and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you do so? So BYU has the tiebreaker over Utah, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
So Utah really has like a less than 2% chance at getting to the Big 12 championship. This is going to be the nastiest bowl team
help.
in America.
They need help.
Yeah. I hope, but I do hope if they miss the college football playoff that we just run it like Texas, Utah. Let's go. Because if those would be essentially the 2 top teams left out, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. All right. Let's get to the next game. I didn't have it sitting right there in front of me like I should have. There are a lot of bad football games this week, if we're really being honest. But there's a Big Ten matchup that I find very interesting, Ralph. Very interesting. And that is Illinois at Wisconsin. And remember when Oregon played with Wisconsin, I told everybody that it would be closer than a lot of people thought it would because they're moving in the right direction. Ever since that they have told Luke Fickell, you're not going to be fired, we're going to bring you back. They've been better, and they're getting healthier. And this Illinois team is doing a good job. This just feels like a situation, Ralph. Illinois is favored by 7.5. Wisconsin just beat Washington at home. The weather is good, at least it is right now. Oh man, they got beat up last week by Indiana 31-7, but they started out tight. I'm going to take Illinois plus 7.5. I think this is a 10-point victory. That's about how good I feel about it.
This is I don't know if I can bring myself. I know the game against Oregon was close, and I know that they found a way to beat Washington, but it was all done on one side of the ball. Yes. It's not like they're doing anything offensively right now. it has been the last time that they completed more than 10 passes. Let me rephrase. The last time they completed 9 or more passes in a game was October 4th.
Yeah.
The last time that they scored 2 touchdowns in a game on offense was September 6th. The the last time they scored more than 14 total points in a game is September 6th.
Jeez,
In the
Louise.
last
Who was that
5
against?
Middle Tennessee State. In the last 5 games, they have 3 touchdowns total.
Oh,
And that's when they've
jeez. And they've been
supposedly
shut
like
out twice.
yes. They've been shut out twice. On the season, they're completing 56% of their passes and rushing for 3.1 yards a game. They have not, the last time they averaged 4 yards per carry in a single game. George, you want to guess?
No idea.
Middle Tennessee State, September 6th. That is also the only time this season that they have averaged 4 yards a carry in a game. And even that one did not average 5. They are on turnovers on the season -8.
Hey, and hear this. With all of those things that you said, they still have more rushing yards than Alabama. Alabama doesn't even have 1,100 rushing yards on the season. They got 1087, and Wisconsin's got 1,100.
This is a brutal season, and if they manage to get out of it with 4+ wins, it'll be incredible because currently the Wisconsin Badgers are like a reserve power forward, averaging 12 points per game on the year.
All right. All right. The second to last game that we have is this is an ACC game. I'm sorry, an SEC game that people thought would matter, but it only matters, I guess, to Tennessee to see if they're still ranked toward the end of the season. But because they've been flying under the radar around the 20s, Heupel's clearly doing a good job. They're 7-3 in a rebuild year with Joey Aguilar as their quarterback. When Nico left, they are at Florida. This feels like a tough spot for them, Ralph. Like everything about this to me feels extremely tough. Like I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, pal. I do not know. Because Lagway was pretty good last week in their loss. They should have won the game last week. Florida had, damn it, I was watching that game the whole damn time. It was Florida was playing Ole Miss last week. They had Ole Miss dead to rights. And then Lagway came in doing things. You're like, what are we doing, son? What are we doing? It is like mind-bendingly frustrating to watch Florida play offense and watch decisions that DJ Lagway makes. I'm not even going to blame the kid at this point because I'm going to say that it was the coaches that were allowing it. So I am going to look at them. I'm going to give them a pass on some level. And I'm going to take Tennessee is a 4-point favorite in this game. 3.5 in some places. This game is in the swamp. This feels like a Florida win to me, Ralph.
Okay. So the best thing that can happen for Tennessee is to win this game. Like in a rebuilding year or whatever, 8-win season, you lose your quarterback, things fall apart. You are guaranteed to not be sub 500 in the SEC. and you will have done something that you haven't done in a very long time. And we're going to play a little game called Guess the Year. The last time that Tennessee won a game in Gainesville, the number 10 box office movie in the entire country, Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2. And now these are teams that play every year, mind you. So the last time,
2008.
Not too close. I'll give you another one. Let's we'll go with one of my traditions. I don't really do Thanksgiving, but I do have one Thanksgiving tradition, and it is to watch the number 17 movie in the box office from this year, starring Will Ferrell, Elf.
People love freaking Elf. All right. Elf's older than that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go 2001.
Okay. The last hint is you were not living that far from there when this happened.
Okay, so I was in Jacksonville. I got there in 03. So let's go Elf.
Bing, 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 bing. Your rookie year in the NFL is the last time that Tennessee has won a game in the swamp.
And they've played at least 10 times there.
Yeah. Yeah. This is important.
That's no bueno.
It's a very, very important game for Tennessee that Florida fans can turn around and throw right back in their face and be like, yeah, we didn't even have a head coach. So like there's
we still beat you. We don't lose to Tennessee.
Yeah. Nothing about this game means anything for Florida, really, outside of just maintaining the status quo. This game means everything for Tennessee, and they don't even get to enjoy it as much as they would have if Florida didn't have like the excuse of like, there's not actually anybody in charge.
Yeah, we don't have a quarterback, we don't have a coach, and we still beat you. That feels like Michigan, Ohio State last year.
It's a can't lose, not a must win.
Yep. All right. Let's get your thoughts, Ralph, on your Arizona State Sun Devils, led by the legend himself, Jeff Sims, against Colorado and Juju. I damn near called the kid Juju Watkins.
Lewis.
Yeah, Juju Lewis, Julian Lewis. So Colorado has been struggling this year. They are 3-7. I think that's fair to say. They finish up this year with Colorado State, but a 5-win season wouldn't feel as bad as it feels right now. So I am going to take Arizona State in this game. They're favored by 7 points, 7.5 in some spots. I'm going to take the 7 so I can get a push if need be. Arizona State +7. I'm sorry, -7. Excuse me.
It's probably smart. We haven't had a chance to talk about this, but Dion demoting Pat Shurmur. I don't love it. He did, yeah, like before last week, or maybe even 2 weeks ago. And so like Pat Shurmur,
he doesn't know what a good offensive coordinator looks like because you have to fire Sean Lewis, who's doing a great job at San Diego State, who actually is one of the people in play for UCLA along with the
JMU coach
Chesney, the JMU coach. And now you're firing Shurmur, so maybe you made bad hires.
And Shurmur like led the team through Dion's absence.
Yeah,
it feels like, I don't know if you remember the whole Newt Gingrich like cheating on his wife while she's in cancer treatments, but it's like you had the man like running the team, and you took play calling duties away from him, and it's been worse. I like Dion. This year is certainly not going according to plan. There is a lot of talent on this roster. I don't know if
Yeah.
Jordan Seaton's going to be healthy. They've got some really good wide receivers. And I do love how Julian Lewis hung in there after getting sacked a billion times against West Virginia. They always have the chance to maybe do something special on offense. But here's why this game actually matters. And it's a full circle moment for this show that we do together. Two things, both that we covered for the Pac-12 Apostles. Number one, when Dion came in, he brought with him a store that
Louis
you used to
luggage.
frequent. Yeah, he brought his Louis luggage, and which means the old luggage had to go. And one of those old bags was a man by the name of Jordan Tyson.
That looks like Louis right now.
And well, what did we say at the time? We're like, okay, I get getting these dudes out of here, but Jordan Tyson,
He's one you should keep.
and we said it then. We said it then. Jordan Tyson got his start, us talking about him on this show, him tearing up Arizona State. So Jordan Tyson's coming back from this hamstring, and he wants to show out in Boulder, in front of his old fans, in front of the coach that didn't want cut ties. Yeah, and he's dealt with a lot of injuries, so he's kind of got a lot to prove as he builds his draft stock. The other thing is this, and it's something we covered on the Pac-12 Apostles as well. Something we kind of even maybe laughed at the time. Jeff Sims' whole life fell apart in Boulder at the start of the 2023
against
season.
Nebraska, yes.
Yeah, in
he
Boulder.
Was talked about like he was dog water. Like he was the worst college football quarterback to ever tie up shoes. They should have never given him a football. He shouldn't even be allowed to change positions. He should just be forced to quit football permanently. That's how bad it was.
And that a lot of that call was coming from inside the house. That was Nebraska fans.
Yep.
And one thing that Nebraska fans used to say is like, he's a good guy, but, and I always kind of wondered what that meant. And now that he's been in Tempe for 2 years, that's how everybody talks about him there. He's a very good person.
Yep.
This game matters a lot.
So who
it matters a lot for Jeff Sims. Arizona State, Colorado is bad, but I have a vested interest in seeing Jordan Tyson get his Boulder farewell, and it would be really cool to see Jeff Sims redeem his name in the city that took it away. That those two things I think are important parts of a game that really doesn't matter all that much.
Okay, super quick. Washington, UCLA. Washington minus 10.5 points. The only reason why this could even be a game where it shouldn't be
is because Jed Fish interviews before the game.
Huh?
It's because Jed Fish interviews before the game.
Oh, that's hilarious. And
that's what Arizona fans are saying. He's going to go down there to interview right before kickoff.
And then the other part is Washington is awful on the road. This is how they lost to Wisconsin, being terrible on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Nico's back this week. They're 10.5 point favorites. I'm taking UCLA plus 10.5.
I'll take the spread with you. I don't love Washington playing bad when their whole team is Arizona high school kids. I love that whole roster, but I think it could be a very close game.
Yep.
It'd be hell if they lost. Right. Hell.
And if you guys noticed, we did not bring up the SEC barely because we will spend 0 point in time talking about Texas A&M versus Samford. Georgia versus Charlotte, Alabama versus Eastern Illinois, Auburn versus Mercer, South Carolina versus Coastal Carolina, LSU versus Western Kentucky, and then Tennessee versus New Mexico State last week, and then there was a Ole Miss versus the Citadel as well. A couple weeks ago. So no, we're not going to pay any attention to you. Go sit and spin somewhere.
We did spend 10 minutes arguing about Auburn Mercer before we hit record, for full disclosure, but yes.
Because Ralph said that Mercer should sit their starters because they're 9-1 and going to the playoffs, and then in case anybody gets hurt.
And you disagree because?
this is their opportunity to be able to showcase their skills versus the SEC.
So that they can
transfer,
leave the team. You got to sit those starters, man. You got to. Everybody, you got to go get that Michael Jordan Salt Lake City pizza before the get everybody a case of food poisoning right before the game.
That's hilarious. All right, you guys, I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden. Peace out. Catch you guys later.